Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this current video I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news. So of course Manchester United are linked with a host of players, and we have got quite a few players who we could go for in the summer and that. So I am going to be giving you some news regarding Jack Grealish from Aston Villa. Also going to be giving you the latest news regarding Jadon Sancho, like I have been doing on a regular basis. Also going to keep you up to date of what's going on with Paul Pogba, because there's a lot of narratives coming out of the mainstream media about Paul Pogba leaving Manchester United in the summer. So I will delve into, Jadon Sancho and Paul Pogba a bit later on in the video, but we will start with Jack Grealish. So I was reading some reports yesterday, and it did say we've identified Jack Grealish as our #1 priority target for the summer. Now, the main explanation for this is because, James Maddison to Manchester United now in the summer is looking extremely unlikely, because as I did update you with yesterday, it did say that James Maddison is close to signing a new contract with Leicester. It's confirmed this contract won't have a release clause, and also he's going to get a pay rise in his new contract. But James Maddison has still got around 3 years left remaining on his current contract. But Manchester United have been long admirers of James Maddison. We was in for James Maddison last summer. So we've actually, been in for James Maddison since last summer. But, comparing, between James Maddison and Jack Grealish, we would prefer James Maddison, but we're not going to get James Maddison now. So our preference now, due to that, is Jack Grealish. So Jack Grealish, is actually now a pretty decent player, and I do believe he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United. And he said Manchester United are preparing to put a huge bid in for him this summer. I can't give you the exact amount that Manchester United are going to put in for him, but it's going to be a substantial amount, probably maybe around 50, 60 or 70 million pounds. Jack Grealish can play as an attacking midfielder. He can also play as a winger. Jack Grealish up until this point has spent the entirety of his career with Aston Villa. Of course, joined Villa's youth academy at the age of 6. Obviously was in their youth setup for a good, 9 years? Then obviously went on to make his senior debut in 2014. And since then, he has been a revelation for Aston Villa. All in all, including his time in the Championship with Villa, he's made around 146 appearances for them and scored around 22 goals. He also did have a loan spell with Notts County, and he is only the age of 24, is Jack Grealish. So obviously as well, he's been key, for Aston Villa, because Aston Villa have got to the Carabao Cup final, and I think, he's the key that's got them, to the Carabao Cup final and that. But do you believe he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United? Of course, well proven in the Premier League. But we still want Jack Grealish in, despite the fact, that we have currently signed Bruno Fernandes. So we're not going to get James Maddison by the looks of things. So we have turned our intentions now on Jack Grealish from Aston Villa. I think he's still got around, 3 years left on his contract with Aston Villa. So we'll give you now the news regarding Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund now. I was reading the Daily Express, I think it was yesterday. It said from the Daily Express, it's not too reliable, the Daily Express, but I'm just going to, say what, it said. It basically, said that, Man United may have, Jadon Sancho's shirt number reserved. But reportedly, it isn't the number 7 and that. And I think, it would be very beneficial, if he was to get given the number 7 at Manchester United. And that's, of course, if we were to get him in the summer. Because we've had a lot of number 7s over the years. We've had the likes of Memphis Depay, Cristiano Ronaldo, Michael Owen, Eric Cantona. So we've had a lot of the number 7s over the years. I think we're going to go in for Jadon Sancho in the summer. There's quite a few teams that are in for Jadon Sancho now. Chelsea have expressed their interest. Obviously, Liverpool have expressed their interest in that. Probably Jadon Sancho's preference would be Liverpool, with how, consistent, they have been this season. That don't see how he'd fit Liverpool's system. Personally speaking, I think, he'd fit Manchester United's system more. But I'd love Jadon Sancho at Manchester United. Obviously, he's now into his current 3rd season with Borussia Dortmund. I think he's enjoyed a difficult season this season, but I think, analysing the vast majority of his career so far with Dortmund, he has done really, really well. But in games this season, Jadon Sancho has been dropped in quite a lot of games, you know. So probably, could leave in the summer, could Jadon Sancho. He's still under contract with Dortmund till 2022. Don't forget, Jadon Sancho did enjoy 2 years at Manchester City before he went to Dortmund. He never got first team opportunities at Man City, so this is the main explanation why I left City. Of course, to join Borussia Dortmund. When he was a lot younger, he began his career with Watford, and he is only at the age of 19. I think he's nearly now 20 years, Jadon Sancho. He is predominantly a right winger, but you can also play him centrally. But I'd love him to come to Manchester United, definitely. Jadon Sancho is a player that can score goals, he can create chances, he can also provide assists. His runs on and off the ball are very, very good, and I think he would be the right solution for Manchester United. So they are our summer targets, Jack Grealish, Jadon Sancho and that. So let's see, who Manchester United can bring in the summer, because more signings are desperately needed. I think we need around 3 to 4 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club, and if we are, of course, to be up there challenging for major honours. I know I admire Solskjaer, that he did recruit, 2 good players in the January transfer window. He brought Bruno Fernandes in, and he also brought Odi Nagalo in on loan. But, that's still not enough for us to get us back, to where we currently want to be, because there is still deficiencies in the squad that need to be addressed. Like I mentioned, we need a right winner. We possibly need a fullback, we need another midfielder and that. So definitely need more current signings. But since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in, he has recruited, 5 players to the club. Recruited 5 players to the club. Last summer he brought Dan James in, Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. And obviously in the January transfer window he brought Bruno Fernandes and, Odi and Igalo in and that. So it's good, that he has recruited them players in. But like I mentioned, in, the past 2 summers, we've recruited 6 players in, Obviously, like I mentioned last summer, we got Daniel James, Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. And the summer of 2018, this was under Mourinho, we got Fred, Dalot and Lee Grant. So definitely know where my recruitment has got to improve. But despite the fact that we have been inconsistent for the last 6 or 7 years, I still believe we can attract players to the elite level. My main explanation for this is because, we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world with a fantastic history. Plus, I think we've got the resources and the backing of the club to get the right players to Manchester United and that. But if we could get Jadon Sancho and Jack Grealish in the summer, I would be very, very delighted in that. And I think probably Solskjaer is going to get a substantial amount in the summer. Probably going to get around £250 million to spend on recruiting more players in. And I do believe in the summer as well that more players will leave Manchester United in that, despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. So now we'll give you the news regarding Paul Pogba. Now, I updated you with the news regarding Paul Pogba yesterday. It did say, that Paul Pogba has notified his teammates that he still wants to leave Manchester United in the summer. Obviously, he's got the same perception now as what he had last summer, because last summer Paul Pogba revealed that he wanted to leave Manchester United, because he did say he was seeking for a new challenge, and he publicly admitted that he wanted to leave the football club for the very first time. Obviously, last summer he was relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. Obviously, last summer we wanted around 160 million. Real Madrid weren't determined to meet that. There was also talks about him possibly making a return to Juventus. I think Juventus may go in for him this summer, because Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 good years in Turin, but the vast majority of his performances at Man United since he rejoined in 2016 have been totally a comparison. I think, the team talk have just reported out saying that now we have reduced our fee for Paul Pogba. So reportedly now we want around £120 million for him, £120 million for him this summer. So we've dropped our asking price to a third, because I think it said we wanted around 160 million. Some reports said last summer that we wanted around £180 million for Paul Pogba. But people a lot of United fans have got different perceptions on Pogba. Some people, would want to keep Paul Pogba. Some people would be happy to see Paul Pogba go, especially, reflecting on the signing of Bruno Fernandes. But there again, Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba in our midfield, I presume, would be a fantastic partnership. But, Paul Pogba's been out of injury anywhere for the vast majority of this season. He's only played around 8 times this season. His appearances have been limited, due to his injuries. He's currently out with an ankle injury at the moment. Obviously, Solskjaer did confirm that Paul Pogba's had his ankle cast removed. Is there a possibility chance that Paul Pogba, could be back for the game against Chelsea after the winter break? We shall find out. Paul Pogba, of course, is now, I think, entering the final year of his contract. Man United do have an option to extend it by a further year, but I don't see us extending it by a further year. And, he's obviously on around 290 grand a week at the club, so in that aspect, he is one of the highest paid players. And, it wasn't only just in the January transfer window gone. It wasn't only last summer Paul Pogba was subject to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, there was a lot of talks about him leaving under Jose Mourinho. Obviously, the main explanation for this is reflecting on the bad relationship he had with Jose Mourinho, and Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho left the football club. Paul Pogba is our most expensive signing. We paid £89 million for him. But, we're known for overpaying for players anywhere. Like I've just said, Pogba 89 million, Matic 40 million, Fred 50 million, Harry Maguire 80 million pounds. And we've spent nearly £1 billion on recruiting new players in the last 6 or 7 years. We've spent a hell of a lot of money. Not only that, we've also got the highest wage bill in the Premier League. So, yeah, very convinced that Paul Pogba will be leaving Manchester United in the summer, definitely. Definitely, but I expect, more players to leave Manchester United in the summer, not just Paul Pogba. Like I mentioned, a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. Of course, we saw Ashley Young leave in the January transfer window. He went to Inter Milan for 1.5 million after he endured 8.5 years at Manchester United. Obviously, we saw Rojo go out on loan to Estudiantes. Obviously, Solskjaer did say that, Rojo and Ashley wouldn't have left in the January transfer window, but they did. But there again, on the other hand, they said, after we signed Bruno Fernandes, he didn't expect Manchester United to make any more signings. But we did get Odion Ighalo in on the board just before the transfer window shut. So we did get Odion Ighalo in, just before the window shut. Yeah, so that was very, very good. So they're the two that left this year. Of course, last summer, we saw the likes of Antonio Valencia leave. He endured 10 years at Manchester United. Obviously, we saw, Chris Smalling go. Chris Smalling, he went out on loan to Roma. So we have got actually, rid of 2 centre-halves now, but we've still got a lot of centre-backs in the team. Chris Smalling endured 9 years at Manchester United. Obviously, we saw Matteo Darmian go. He went to Parma. Obviously, Ander Herrera left. He left last summer, did Ander Herrera. He went to PSG on a free transfer. I was infuriated with that because, we should at least cashed in for him. I think we made a mistake by getting rid of Ander Herrera because you could arguably say he was one of our best players since the Alex Ferguson era. But I thought he enjoyed a good 4.5 years out of the 5 years he was at Man United, Ander Herrera. So it was a waste of 29 million because that's what we paid for him from Atletico Bilbao. Fellaini, he left in January 2019 after he endured 6 years at the football club. We got him from Everton for 27.5 million. That was the right decision by the club getting rid of Fellaini. Obviously we got rid of Romelu Lukaku. Again, that could have been a mistake Manchester United made getting rid of Lukaku because I thought Lukaku did well for us in his first season. Lukaku endured 2 seasons at Manchester United, and in those 2 seasons he scored 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions. But in his second season didn't really replicate what he did in his first season because Lukaku initially lost his place in the team because obviously Solskjaer revealed that Rashford's was his current preference and that. And I think he's doing well now at Inter Milan is Lukaku. I'm happy that we got 70 odd million for him, so we basically more or less recoup the money than what we paid for him from Everton because we paid £75 million for him from Everton. Obviously, Sanchez is out on loan with Inter Milan. Obviously, three of our players, three of Inter Milan have obviously, got three of our players now. They've got Young, Lukaku and Sanchez. Obviously Sanchez is returning to Manchester United after his loan spell ends with Inter Milan. Solskjaer has confirmed this, because don't forget Solskjaer did say that he believes that Sanchez will prove his all wrong when he does come back to Manchester United after his loan spell with Inter Milan. Obviously, Sanchez is on loan now with Inter Milan, and despite that, Man United are still paying the vast majority of his wages. I still believe we're paying him around £300,000 a week, and Inter Milan are like paying the other £100,000 to him. But, Sanchez enjoyed a difficult 18 months at Manchester United, and I think he's enjoying a difficult time at Milan at the moment, because I think he's had quite a lot of injury problems. When we got Sanchez from Arsenal in January 2018 as part of a swap deal with Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal, I thought he was going to exceed expectations at Man United. So I thought at Man United he was going to replicate what he did at Arsenal, because he enjoyed a good 3.5, 4 years with Arsenal, definitely. Don't forget he played under Pep Guardiola when he was younger, so he did play under one of the best managers in the world. Sanchez managed 45 appearances for Man United and only managed 5 goals in all competitions. But when he does come back, hopefully, he can, improve, can Alexis Sanchez. And he is now, 31 years of age. Probably Solskjaer seeing it is that, when he comes back, he will add more transition in the attacking third of the pitch and that. But there again, I think this is what Odi and Ighalo will do. But I think we're making a wrong decision by recommending Sanchez back into the football club after his loan spell with Inter Milan. It's a shame that we couldn't have got rid of Sanchez on a permanent basis. But the only way we would have got rid of him was getting him out on loan, because obviously not many teams, if any, could afford to pay his substantial wages. And I said his wages had a bad his wages, had an effect on Manchester United. It was, knackering our wage structure basically. But yep, Sanchez, he's coming back to the club. So I think around 9 senior players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in to the football club and that. Obviously, Solskjaer said, this winter break is a useful period for our new incomings. So what he means in that aspect is that, it's going to be, they're going to be prepared, for the game against Chelsea on the 17th. And it's going to be a very difficult game against Chelsea on the 17th. And that game against Chelsea, could actually, decide who finishes in the top 4 this season. Obviously, at the moment, Chelsea are 6 points ahead of us. We're 6 points behind them. Obviously, this is a game Manchester United must win. Because obviously, as well, we're winless in our last 3 games. And we're looking to beat Chelsea for the 3rd time this season. We're looking to beat Chelsea. We've already beaten them twice this season. Beating them in the Carabao Cup early on the season 2-1. And also beat them in the beginning of the season by 4-0. I think we're unbeaten in our last 5 against Chelsea. But Solskjaer's record against Chelsea has been very, very good since he come in, because I don't think he's yet lost to Chelsea as Manchester United manager. So hopefully, we can get something against Chelsea. Like I said, against Chelsea, Odi and Ighalo will be making his debut, and Bruno Fernandes will be making his 2nd Premier League appearance for Manchester United and that. But it'll be interesting to see, how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does approach that game. But like I said, we have got quite a few ambitions this season, and one of those ambitions is to finish in the top 4. Obviously, we do want Manchester United to finish in the top 4, so we can get Champions League football secured for next season. Obviously, want to get some silverware on the board. That's very imperative, because we have lacked silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. Since Ferguson's retirement in 2013, we've only won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal, and the Europa League and the League Cup under Jose Mourinho. So we can get some silver on the board this season. We can win the FA Cup. Even if we don't win it, I'd love us to enjoy a good run. We are now into the 5th round. We have got Derby. Obviously, Wayne Rooney's going to be reuniting with Manchester United, and that, don't forget. Wayne Rooney enjoyed 13 years at Manchester United as a player, and he's our all-time leading goal scorer with 253 goals. So it'd be interesting to see, how Rooney does perform against, his former club and that. Obviously, we can win the Europa League. We are in that. We're in the knockout stages. Club Brugge is the game after Chelsea in the Europa League. And it's not only getting silver on the board, that is also another route to Champions League football and that. So there's quite a few ambitions that Manchester United have currently got. But I did say, didn't I, at the start of this season, that our expectations this season will be to finish in that top four. I think, to be fair, the expectations will be the same going on to next season. The expectations will be the top four. I think in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is going to be that top four. Because, despite that we've brought Fernandes and Odi Nagala in, I still think, analysing it, our team is not good enough to win the Premier League yet or mount any kind of title challenge up. Definitely not. And, we haven't won the league since 2013. So that's 7 years ago now. But I did say at the start of this season that I expected to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season. Because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th. Obviously, we didn't win anything. I think the lowest we've ever finished in the Premier League era was back under David Moyes. But now we are enjoying our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. So this is the worst we've ever been up until this point in the Premier League era. Obviously, since Solskjaer got the job permanently, he's lost more games in the Premier League than he's won, so his record is absolutely nowhere disastrous in that. But there's still time to turn things around. Probably, we will give Solskjaer another season at the club. This is now his first full season at Manchester United. He's been here 14 months nearly. He's been permanent boss for almost 11 months and that. I think another mistake Man United did make was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job on a permanent basis. That was one mistake Manchester United did make. I think we give him the job too soon, but the main explanation why we give Solskjaer, the job on a permanent basis is reflecting on what he did as the interim manager, because he did really, really well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. And obviously, reflecting on that then, my perceptions were different regarding Solskjaer and that. But for me, he isn't the long-term solution for Manchester United. Definitely not. I've already said to you my element of concerns about him. He's been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. Some of his substitutions have been questionable. Obviously, he just doesn't really know how to change a game. No plan A, no plan B. And for me, he's too inexperienced. And like I've said in my other videos, I've got the same perception on Michael Carrick and Kieran McKenna. Carrick was a good player, but inexperienced. Solskjaer was a good player, but inexperienced as a manager in that, because before Solskjaer came to Man United, he was at Mould and he was at Cardiff and that. And in a way, I do feel sorry for him, because I think the club have put him in a very, very difficult position. I think Solskjaer probably realises himself he's not good enough, but obviously doesn't want to admit this, especially in public. He doesn't want to admit this because it's a club that he does adore, Solskjaer. And I think, the only reason we're sticking with him is because he's a club legend. I think, disregarding him being a club legend, he probably would have been sacked by now. But, Solskjaer's not only the issue at Manchester United. Not all of the blame stems from him. Some of it does. There's fundamental issues at the club. Unlike, Neville recently come out and said, that, the fans have got doubts over the executive and the club's ownership and that, and we need to get rid of Ed Woodward and the Glazers, because I don't like the way the football club's been run in the last 6 or 7 years. We also, need to get rid of our current board, because they've been a liability for several years. We need a change of management and that. But, like I've mentioned, there's a lot of cultural problems at the club, so we need to recommend someone in who can change the culture of the club. And by getting a new manager in would be a start. And I think, we need to get a manager in with a proven pedigree and a manager to the top level. And a manager that's got the right philosophy for the club and that. And, definitely not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't got the right philosophy for Manchester United. Let's just take that into account. But there again, we've had, two, good managers, and that was Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho, but obviously, it didn't work out. So it's not always the right solution, getting the managers in, with the proven pedigree. But we'll stick with Solskjaer for now. Like I said, he's got 2.5 years left on his deal. Obviously, if we did decide to sack him any time within this, 2.5 year period, we'd have to pay compensation to get rid of him, and I think we'd have to pay around £5 million to get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That's how much Manchester United, would currently have to pay. If Solskjaer is to be sacked, so it's probably more than likely that, Mauricio Pochettino will be our next manager anywhere. Pochettino is interested in taking over the Man United job. He's recently, been linked with a managerial role at Atletico Madrid. Earlier on in the season, there was speculation of him going to Bayern Munich. There was also talks of him going to Real Madrid. Pochettino is not the best manager in the world, no. But I think he's a better manager than Solskjaer. He's totally comparison to Solskjaer is Pochettino. Well proven in the Premier League. He's got that managerial experience. He hasn't won out in terms of silverware. That's my element of concern. He enjoyed a good 5.5 years with Tottenham. He did well at Southampton. So far, Pochettino's managed 2 Premier League clubs. If Pochettino was to get another job before the end of the season, Tottenham would be entitled to £10 million in compensation. But we won't get Pochettino in. Very unlikely we'll get him in, before the end of the season and that. So that's very, very unlikely. That will currently happen. Very, very unlikely indeed. But there's still players I would be determined to keep at Man United, definitely. I would keep Marcus Rashford. I know he's out injured at the moment. He's Rashford. He's going to be out for a couple of months. But I think he's been one of our best players this season, definitely. And I think when he recovers, he will replicate what he did, earlier on in the season. Rashford's been fantastic. And, up until this point, he's spent the entirety of his career with Man United. And he's been in the senior squad since 2016. I would keep McTominay because before he got injured, he did well. I'd keep, Bissaka, James and Maguire. Who else would I keep? I'd keep Lindelof, definitely. So there's still quite a few players I would keep. Probably Juan Mata. I think he's a good backup to Bruno Fernandes, is Juan Mata, so I would keep him. I know a lot of people say he's past his sell-by date now, he's aging up and he's lost that yard of pace, but I still believe when he gets given his opportunities, he does do well, does Juan Mata. So these players I would be determined to keep. Lingard, he's another player I would, get rid of. I'd get rid of Jesse Lingard. I give you the news regarding Jesse Lingard the other day. Obviously, it did say, that, Atletico Madrid and Roma were in for Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard's give his overarching view on it, and he said he wants to stay at Man United, does Jesse Lingard. Solskjaer may be keen on keeping him. He's got 18 months left on his current contract with the club as Jesse Lingard, but his stats are very, very bad. Last year he didn't score 1 goal or 1 assist for Man United, and I think he's a liability now. Definitely is Jesse Lingard. 18 months left on his contract with an option of a further year. Up until this point, he's spent the entirety of his career with Man United. Obviously had loan spells with Leicester, Birmingham, Brighton and Derby. But we need to get rid of Jesse Lingard. Definitely Pereira, he's a liability. We need to get rid of him. People are now saying Martial should be sold in the summer. I believe he needs to be dropped, and I think we probably need to play Mason Greenwood ahead of him. Mason Greenwood ahead of him and that. But, he hasn't been so good in his last 6 or 7 games and that. So maybe he could be sold in the summer. Luke Shaw, he's another one. Lost his place now in the team anyway because obviously Brandon Williams is our first choice. Well, Luke Shaw still plays, but, Brandon Williams is Solskjaer's, preference over Luke Shaw, despite the fact that Luke Shaw is more experienced. Matic, too much of a liability. He's had a few good games, but I think he's too slow. Jones is a flop now. Probably needs to be moved on. So yeah, overall, there's more players that do need to leave the football club in the summer. Definitely in that. So that is your transfer news to update you with today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again soon.